So thank you everyone. I know it's Saturday, but I really appreciate you folks showing interest and joining the session on Microsoft Azure. And uh, I'm pretty sure this session will really help you a lot. Not only understand about Microsoft Azure, but as you can see the title, like how it can help boost your cloud career, right? As you know, Azure, AWS, GCP, these are the leading cloud providers, right? So having a knowledge of Azure and its concept, its services can really open up a like you can say like a wider job opportunities for you all. So I will try my best to just walk you through what the Azure cloud is, how it can help you in your professional career, and how you can leverage it. I will also show some real world examples that can help you understand how cloud has immensely grown in the last, you can say, like 5 to 10 years, a decade. How everywhere we hear about cloud. So cloud storage, lot of things are there, right? So let's start for the. So yeah, about me, I think Jayashree already covered this, but yeah, let me introduce myself. So I have overall around 8+ years working in cybersecurity domain. I started my career in the year 2015 around, along working in the SOC operations. Uh, and over all these years, yeah, I have developed good knowledge in cybersecurity domain and understanding the different aspects of you can say malware analysis, going through the attack pattern, the different TTPs, that is tactics, techniques, and procedures. And also not only that, developing use cases. So use cases mean like how you can identify malwares, how you can identify sophisticated malwares, maybe in the CI/CD pipeline, that is continuous integration and continuous development. Along with that, I have also good hands-on in the incident response space. Currently, I am working at Microsoft, and one thing, like before I start the session, I am not representing Microsoft, but yeah, I am just sharing my knowledge, and my expertise, what all I have learned over the years. And Azure is just a part of it, right? So Azure is not everything. You can think of like when I talk about security, it's just a part, like it's just a cloud space of you can say security. But there are a lot of other areas as well. Endpoint security is there, on-premise security. So a lot of things are there, right? So and also like I have good understanding on you can say how you can secure environment given an environment, like what are the different ways. And along with that, I want to call it out I am CISSP certified. So I will just try to give a sense like, okay, how Azure can help you, how security can help you grow in your career. And let me tell you that as we know, like we all are in the digital era, right? Where everything is available at your fingertips, whether it is your tablets, mobiles, can do everything with your mobile, right? So this is all possible because of cloud technologies, AI, cognitive services. But we know when you get the things, it's not for free. There is a added risk as well, right? So while the technology was growing, the attackers were also getting sophisticated day by day. They were like checking for different methods, like how you can attack the users. There are a lot of frauds going on, right? Banking frauds, which you will be seeing, like people will be calling you for OTPs, like your with your Aadhaar ID and all, they can send OTP. Money can be transferred with you can say like Aadhaar based payment system. So a lot of things are there, right? So while the era was growing, while the digital technology was growing, the attack pattern, the attack surface, the threat patterns also changed, right? So being in the digital era, we have to be ready how we can cope up with this. and how it also opens up different job opportunities. Many of you might be already working in IT, or few of you might be the students, but this is a good way to understand how Azure, how security is revolving all around us. So without further ado, let me go to the next slide. So purpose of this session, yeah. So I will try to explain about Microsoft Azure and how it can help in your career, like grow as a, you can find a job, or what are the different jobs available in Azure. So that is the main goal of this webinar. So now first, before I start about Microsoft Azure, which is a kind of cloud, a cloud computing, you can say, environment, I would like to talk about like what is cloud computing. Okay, so if you talk about cloud computing, I can explain it in a, like, you can say, very simpler way. Like cloud computing is something which refers to the delivery of various computing resources, right? So this is made of two words, cloud plus computing. So computing is means some kind of computing services. Okay, so think of a era like when you are working on a laptop, there are a lot of computing going on in the backend in the form of processing power, that is CPU. Then you have different softwares running. You have the storage. You have the chips. So a lot of things are there. They all provide the computing power, right? Now the other word is cloud. So previously all of things were on-prem, running on-prem. There was nothing like a concept of cloud. Okay. So now what cloud computing means, like, okay, we will deliver you the computing power over internet. You need not worry about like, okay, you should have all the computing, you can say, resources with you, but it is on demand. Suppose if you need more CPU, okay, we will provide you. Who will provide? You can say those who are providing this cloud services like Azure, AWS, GCP. You want extra storage, okay, we are there to provide you that. Okay, I want more softwares. I do not want to worry about how I will manage those softwares, or how I will patch and update those softwares. So cloud will take care of that. So they will say like, okay, you do your job, whatever you want in terms of computing power, in terms of software, in terms of storage, we are there to provide those services to you. And when they provide these services, they make money out of it. Okay. So they do not charge you for anything you are not using. They only charge you for the things which you have utilized. That concept is also called as pay as you go. So you have started something, you started using it, you used it like anything, and accordingly they will, in the proportion, they will charge you. After some point of time, you stopped using that service, they will not charge you for the idle power. There are some exceptions when you block a certain public IP address, when you spin up a VM, or when you block certain storage. So in that case, they will charge you even if you are not using it, but the charges will be very less. So the cloud computing, how, with this picture, I will try to explain like how this cloud computing works. So think like you are working on mobile. Suppose you are having Google Drive. Okay, you want to store some images in Google Drive. Now what happened? You will see like Google Drive, they will say like it is a kind of cloud storage. Your data resides in cloud. So you need not worry about like, okay, how much space you have on the mobile, but you will have the cloud storage. You want 5 GB, which is for free, or you want 100 GB, you want 1 terabyte, 50 terabyte, it all depends on you, like, and accordingly they will charge you. So this is, they are providing you the storage services over cloud. So all you need is internet connectivity. So this is very important. Cloud computing cannot work without internet connectivity, right? they are providing all these services over internet. So now there is a tablet, they want to run some software, that software is not there, or they want to run some application, then it can go to cloud provider, maybe Azure, AWS, or some other cloud providers, and they can ask for that software that will get deployed. Similarly, like suppose this is a VM, this is a Windows VM, but I want to run maybe like Linux on that. Okay, this is a window workstation, but I want to run Linux on that, virtualized. So in that case, you can go and ask for virtual desktop. So this is what the cloud computing is, right? They are providing you the resources over internet, and you need not worry about maintaining those softwares, maintaining those storage, the security of those softwares, because these all things are taken care by cloud provider. This is not your responsibility. I will also cover about like what are the different, you can say like cloud offerings, which will be coming in the next slides. But this is the overall feel of it. Okay. So with this, the advantage is that you need not be ready with all the resources, because see what happens, suppose like you are developing some software or you are managing security. So in that case, you need a lot of other computing powers. You might need network configurations. You might need applications. You might need extra storage. So sometimes you will be aware like, okay, if the company is a small company or very few employees, you will know like, okay, what are the things required. But there are for like larger companies, there you can say like the data need, uh, there the networking requirements and all that changes over time, right? So in that case, cloud offerings will help you provide those services. Whatever you need, it will be available at the click of, you just click it. You want something, you want a VM to be spinned up on this workstation, it will be done within 5 minutes. But suppose the cloud computing was not there, you have to go and procure those, you can say like those system, those kind of OS. You should have the unique key and all those, right? And you will be charged no matter you are using it or not, right? So but in the case of cloud computing, what is happening, you used it for 1 hour, after that you decommission, they are not going to charge you anything. They are only charging you for the services which you are using. Okay, so this is same like I can give you example. Think of a service like for example, you are taking Ola taxi and all, right? So you use that service for 30 minutes. The ride fare was something like 250. So they are just providing you the service, you are using it. For that half an hour or the trip time, you use their service. And after that, you need not pay anything. But suppose like this was not the case. These previously these cloud providers or this Ola, Uber was not there. So in that case, either you have to rent it out for the whole day, even though you are not using for the whole day, or you will buy your own car. But in that case, even if you are not using it, you have already paid for that, right? So that is not the case with cloud computing. In the simple way I'm explaining, right? So you are only charged for the services which you are using. Once you are not using, you can decommission it or you can keep it in idle. You can turn off that, you can shut down that VM. After that, there will be no charges for you. Okay. So that's pretty much about cloud computing. Let me go to the next slide. Okay. Now I talked about the cloud computing, how the these cloud providers provide this cloud computing resources and all. So this cloud computing is divided in three major areas. One is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. And I will also explain like what is this on premises. Okay. So that will help you understand why we need cloud in this digital era, why we need cloud. Okay. So previously what, think of example like there is a company of 100 employees. They have their own, you can say like softwares, they have their different applications, different OS. So in that case, suppose there are 100 employees, they need to buy, I am just taking an example. They need to buy 100 laptops so that they can work, those employees can work from those systems. They need to set up a workspace. They also should have the data center in the backend where the storage, their code, everything will be stored. Along with that, they should also have servers where different like file storage, DB storage, all the things will be there. They also need to manage the networking, like, okay, how the network infrastructure should look like. So suppose like in a data center, you have different servers. So you also need to manage the networking. Uh, in your like office, there are 100 employees. You also need to manage the networking of those, like, okay, in which switch, how many users will be there, how they will be communicating with the other users, how they will be communicating over the internet. So previously, what happened on the on-premise thing, you have to buy all those resources. Not only buying, you have to also manage the security of those resources. You have to keep on updating it. You have to keep on patching it, because like nowadays, like the attacks are very widespread, right? So suppose if you missed patching something, so those are vulnerable to attacks, right? So in this, there was a lot of drawbacks. Like suppose you bought 100 laptops. Now at one point of time, suppose like you have only 80 employees. So those 20 resources are waste, even though you are not using it, but you already paid for it, right? So that is also called as CapEx, capital expenditure. Okay. So you already paid for it, right? You are using it or not using it, you are being charged. You have to maintain the OS, you have to update the OS, you have to manage the middlewares, you have to take care of virtualization, storage. So a lot of things you only need to take care. This was creating lot of admin task. You were paying lot of extra money for the services which you were not using. Now I will give you example how cloud can help here. So suppose like there are 100 employees. Not always all the 100 employees will be working, right? Suppose they are working in 3 different shifts, morning, afternoon, night. So 33 employees. So what cloud? So suppose like this company go to a cloud provider like Azure. See, this is my environment. This is what my storage, this much storage I need. So at any point of time, only 33 employee will be working. So I need a cloud solution for me. So what cloud provider will say like, okay, do one thing. I will provide you 33 VMs from where your employees can work. You also need not care about uh, updating those VMs. We will take care of the storage as well, like how much storage you need. We will also take care of application security and all those time, right? So now in this case, what happened? You are paying only for the 33 devices. There can be a chance like, okay, instead of 33, you have 36 or 37. At some day you have like 37 people working. So what cloud provider will say like, okay, no problem. You need 4, I will provide you 4 more VMs. And suppose if you are using for 6 hours, I will only charge you for 6 hours, not after that. So once you leave it, you have to pay only for the 6 VMs. And once after your work is done, you can shut them down, or you can stop it. We will only be charging for the storage and all which is in the backend, or the public IP which you are using in the backend. We will not charge you for everything, right? So this is how cloud helps. And also like you need not worry about patching those things, updating the software. So security is also enhanced, right? Because you need to think about security. If you are not thinking, if it is not in your design, so there is something called as secure by design. Okay. So if you are planning security at later point of time, you will have to have lot of investment. You will have to change the design. You have to do lot of groundwork. So it's good to have security in all the phases, not only coding, when you are procuring something, when you are designing something. So you should have security at all the layers from the starting to the end. Okay. Otherwise, what will happen? You plan security after something is delivered. You again need to go and check your code. You again need to go and check your software. Lot of things are there, right? So it will be a added, you can say added risk is there, as well as you will also be paying uh, more to those, like suppose like you have hired someone who will review the security and all, they will be charging. So it's good to have security at each layer from the start. So this was the on-premise thing. Now cloud is saying I can provide you different kind of offerings. It all depends upon what is your requirement. Okay, based on your requirement, we have different tailored solution for you, and we will be providing that to you. So one is infrastructure as service. So infrastructure as service, by the name itself, we can understand like, so what we are saying to the, what the cloud provider is saying, I will provide you the infrastructure. Okay. So by the infrastructure, what it means, like, see, in the backend, in the this cloud, it is all a data center. Okay. So they are maintaining a data center where lot of different, you can say OS will be there, lot of different storage will be there, lot of different servers will be there, networking tools will be there in the backend. And when you want to use something, they will provide you over internet. So it is not like a something magic is happening. Okay. So in the backend, they are also maintaining a data center. But the good part is that they are maintaining it. They are providing you trust in terms of security, flexibility, scalability, 24/7 availability, performance. Lot of things are there, which I will be covering later on. These are the added benefits. So now in an infrastructure as a service, they are saying like, okay, I will provide you the infrastructure. Now the companies, you can decide how you want to use that infrastructure. So there is something called as you manage. So suppose like this is a company, for example, this is GUVI, the green colored one. This is what the GUVI will manage, and this red colors is something which Azure will manage. So Azure, in terms of infrastructure as a service, they are saying like, okay, we will provide you the networking solution. You did not worry about networking, how those networking things will work in the backend. We will take care of that. Storage thing we will take care. If you want less storage, we will give you less storage. If you want more storage at any point of time, we will scale it. So that is also one of the advantage of Azure. It can scale at the go. Whenever you need more storage, it will provide you. When you need more computing power, it will provide you. You will be needing different servers, they will provide you. Servers can be anything like in the you can say like the bare metal, anything they will provide you. And the virtualization, like you can run any kind of OS on top of it. Now GUVI decide like, okay, out of this 33, 11 will be Windows VM, 11 will be Mac OS, 11 will be Linux. So you have to get your own OS in that case. Okay, you have to also come with the middlewares. Like suppose there are certain software application which you will be running, you will be providing like the runtime, you will be managing. And one thing to take care, data and application in all on-premise infrastructure platform, data and application will be taken care by the customer. So here the customer is, sorry, the client. The client will is GUVI. So GUVI need to manage their application and data. Okay, whatever application they are running, their application is generating certain code, or this application is like submitting, taking on some request, application forms and all. Those all things will be managed by GUVI. Cloud will only take care of this part: virtualization, server, storage, networking. Some of the example I can think of uh, in the case of infrastructure as service. So one is like Azure Virtual Machine. So AVDs. So they are the one which will come under this area. So you can use Azure Virtual Machines. Along with that, Azure Virtual Network. So Azure Virtual Network is something like same like the networking solution which we have on the premise. Similarly, for managing the Azure resources, there are different Azure resources, right? So Azure VMs are there, Azure storage are there, Azure servers are there, Azure application will be there. They all need to interact with each other, right? Over internet. So for managing that, there is something called as Azure Virtual Network. Same like our VLANs, virtual network in the on-premise thing and all. Okay. So each VLANs, all those things. So those things will be taken care by cloud. So Azure Virtual Network is one example. Along with that, Azure Blob Storage. So blob storage comes, there are different offerings in storage. Container is there, Azure files are there, uh, Azure queues are there. So different type of storage you can use. Okay. So this was the example of infrastructure as a service. Now I will come to platform as a service. Okay. So platform. So think of like see, the name denotes everything, like and all, it is also saying like, okay, what kind of service it is providing. So platform as a service, they are saying like, okay, we will not only provide you the infrastructure, but we will also provide you the platform to host anything. You want to host anything, you come and host on that platform, and we will take care of everything which is running in the backend. So these portions already they were taking care. Now they will also take care of OS security. See, when I say OS, operating system, so a lot of things come into the picture. They will take care of updating, patching. Sometimes they need to like update with some critical updates, critical patches, so that they will also take care. Different kind of OS they will provide you. If you go to Azure, you will find almost all the OS flavors, whether it is Linux, you can think of like Windows, they will provide you all those flavors. Okay. Along with that, maintaining security of middleware, runtime, everything they will provide. You only need to worry about your application and data. So some example of platform as a service, like suppose you want to deploy your application. So you have the codes and everything. You have done the system testing, unit testing, integration testing, everything is done. Now you want to deploy it. Okay. You want to deploy it as a web application. You can go there and deploy it. Suppose you do not want to deploy it as a web application, but you want as a app service. So in that case, your Azure app service will help you. So some of the example of platform as a service is like Azure app service, where you can go and host any kind of applications, no matter what the backend is, whether it is running, suppose like in JavaScript, PHP, whatever, C, C++, whatever, they will provide you the customized solution for you. You can go and host your service. Similarly, like you can think of Azure functions. Azure function is also one that is also called as a, as serverless function. So that respond to the events, and also like it will automatically scale based on the demand. That is what the benefit of cloud. Now coming to the last part, that is software as a service. So by the name itself, they are providing you software. Now you did not worry about anything. See, think of like, but still you will manage your user information and application data. So this will be partially managed by you and the cloud provider, right? So in this case, they are providing you everything. They will take care of everything. You did not worry about anything, patching anything, data security, application security, how you will host the application, everything they are providing you. You just need to use their service. So some example of you can think of software as a service is Microsoft 365, which was formerly called as Office 365. So there you can use all the Office services like Outlook, Excel, Word, whatever things, PowerPoint. So all those things will be provided over cloud. You can think of Dynamic 365. That is also one example. Other example is Microsoft Azure DevOps, that is used for development tools and services in the CI/CD pipeline. So that is what software as a service is. They will provide you the software. You just need to go and use those softwares. You will be saying like in your mobile as well, you are using lot of applications and all. So you did not worry about patching them. You did not worry about, suppose I will take example of WhatsApp. So you are not worrying about, okay, who will patch, if there is some critical vulnerability, who will patch it? WhatsApp will take care. Where my data is getting stored, so WhatsApp will take care. It will be stored on WhatsApp server. So who will manage like, okay, whether when I am having a chat with someone, who will maintain the end-to-end encryption? So WhatsApp will take care of that. You will not go and manage those things. So they are providing you the service. You are just using that service, software as a service, right? So that is all about like the different cloud offerings, and depending upon your need, like it all depends how you want to utilize cloud, you will go with all of these offerings. So one thing to take away from this slide is like, once you move this side, your responsibility, or you can say like your admin job, will reduce, because you need not worry about patching and all those things. That will be taken care by cloud. Okay. And once you come from software as a service to on-premise, your responsibility will increase. And even the security aspects or the security risk will increase, because see, cloud is doing all those things for you and you are doing it. So you might miss something, right? But in the case of cloud, if something happens, you can let cloud accountable for that. They will take the accountability and responsibility of it. Okay, something went bad, some zero-day attack happened or something happened, they will take care of you. So there was certain downtime. You were using certain softwares, there was certain downtime. If you are an enterprise customer, they will be paying you for that downtime. So there is something called as SLA, service level agreement. So service level agreement will be made between customers and the cloud provider. Like, okay, in a year, only for 24 hours, your application can be down. If it is more than 24 hours, you will be paying me this much amount of my loss. So this is how the cloud operates, the business operates based on the SLA, based on different agreements and all. Okay. So this is all about the different cloud offerings. Now let me go to the next slide here, where I will talk about Azure. Now I already talked about the different cloud offerings, right? So no matter any of these three you go, Azure will provide you those services to you. But it all depends like which kind of service you want to use. So think of like you want compute power. So you can use virtual machines, you can use containers. You want a storage to store your files, to store large files, to store, you can say like you need disk, like a hard disk. So in your device, you have something called as a hard disk, right? But in case of cloud and all, suppose if you need, you have a disk requirement, so cloud can provide that. In the disk requirement also, there are different kind of disk. Okay, suppose you want for a gaming application and all, so there you need high disk, you need high you can select GPUs and all. So those kind of things. So the charges will be proportional to that. Like it all depends upon like what kind of service you are using. Now suppose you want to use networking. Each of these service, you can say like they are the different you can say offerings from Azure. Virtual machine, Azure containers. In storage, there are different kind of storage. Blob is where you can store any kind of data, no matter it is like any format. Okay, you can say like unstructured data. So if you have a read like database, so in DB there is something called a structured data or unstructured data. So in blob you can dump anything, it will store there. Then we have something called as queues. Files is nothing but the flat files. You have certain files, you can go and store them. Disk I already talked about, that is for like your storage and all, when it is linked to your you can say like a VM or a machine. Networking, lot of services are there. So this is one of the area, Azure networking, which I really love a lot. So there lot of services are there. And I am seriously saying you, like when you go and read about these services, you will be fascinated like how Azure is providing all these services, or how the cloud is offering all these services. Just you need to go to the Azure portal and all these services will be it will be at your hand. You want to go and use anything, you can use any of their services. Virtual network or load balancer you want to use. So if you are working, if you have a web application kind of a thing, so you will be dealing with these load balancers and all. DNS, so where the name resolution happens. Express route, if you want a connectivity with your core resources, so in that case you will have a dedicated channel, which will dedicated channel between the cloud and your company. No one else can use that channel, it will be not our cloud. that is called as express route. Traffic manager is there. VPN gateway. Suppose if you are using VPN services, so in that case, VPN gateway will be used. Application gateway is also there. For certain applications, you can deploy it. Along with that, lot of other services are there. So this was infrastructure services, infrastructure as a service. So in similarly, platform services like platform as a service. So a lot of things are there. You can use it as a CDN, that is content delivery network. So CDN, you know, like, okay, you can host the content and it can be streamed anywhere. So this is how this, you can say like cricket live cast and all, it is played live, right? Without any delay and all. So this is all based on CDNs, content delivery networks. Similarly, you can use any kind of application platform. You want a web application platform, you can get that. You want to host certain mobile application, no matter it is, you can say like Android or iOS. So they will provide you all those kind of services. API, so application program interface, they will allow to interact with any application using APIs. So a lot of services are there, right? Similarly, in the case of data, they will provide you SQL database, SQL data warehouse, uh, SQL server, Redcast. So a lot of different services are there, right? It all depends upon what is your need. Accordingly, you will go and use that. So nowadays, like this cognitive services, AI thing is running on. So that is also there. From the IoT space, if you want something like IoT Hub or Azure IoT, like you want to develop something using Azure in the IoT space, for that you can use analytics and IoT services. Developer services, this is mostly related to CI/CD pipelines. So Visual Studio is there. So you can host your app like code, this build, service, release pipeline, everything will be taken care by Visual Studio. You have application insights. So a lot of things are there, right? Lot of different offerings. And this is why you can see like Azure, AWS, and GCP. So they will provide you a lot of different services, and that is why the customers are using it, right? And also the security, the patches, and everything is being taken care by the cloud provider, where you need not worry about those things. You need not to pay anything in advance. Once you start using it, they will charge you only for the things you use, not for everything, right? It's not a, you can say, this is also called as OPEX, open expenditure. Okay. You do not need to pay for the capital expenditure. Like you need to rent out certain data center. You need to procure those softwares, servers, hardwares and all. So you need not worry about capital expenditure. It is all about open expenditure, OPEX. The things which you are using, cloud will take care of everything in the backend. They are the one who will manage the data center security, everything they will take care. You just need to use their services. This is what the cloud is. And using the services where? Over internet. This is very important. These all things work over internet. Okay. So I talked about virtual machine, Azure app services I talked about. Similarly, we have something called Azure Kubernetes services, that is for managing this containerized application. So there's something called as containers, okay, which can be somewhat related to virtual machines. So virtual machine and containers, they are related. You can read more about it. In this session, we do not have that much time. Like, okay, we can go and talk about what the containers are, how it is different from virtual machine. Okay, so those things. Apart from that, we also discussed a little bit about Azure SQL databases. So this is Azure SQL database. It is a which kind of database? Relational database, right? So this is mostly used in like banking transactions or automatic backups, security patches. For those things, it is used. Azure function, so that is also called as serverless function. So whenever you want to run something, they will be charged only for the moment or the time the function was executed. Not they will not charge for anything else. Similarly, we have Azure Active Directory. How you have, you can say like the domain kind of services. Here you see like hybrid cloud, right? So how you have Active Directory in the on-prem thing. Similarly, Azure Active Directory is there in the Azure space. So they will take care of managing all the things like you can say like you can create users, you can assign different roles to them, you can assign different access level to them. So in that case, you are also maintaining like the access controls, role based access control, so those things. So for that you have Azure Active Directory. So it is also providing domain services. Azure AD privileged PIM. So PIM is a concept which is mostly used like suppose if you need certain service, you should have a different role for that. Privileged identity management, like that is what the name is, privileged. You want to use something privileged service. Okay, so in that case, you can use it, right? So and also like backup. So backup is something like Azure will take care of the backup, restore, and all those things. You need not worry about that, right? So there is something called as Azure Backup Services. You can use that one as well. Okay. Now, coming to security and management. So I was talking from long time. I was talking about like how Azure will maintain the security of your infrastructure, that cloud infrastructure. So for that, there are a lot of different features. Uh, I want to take a break. Let me have some water. Give me a moment. So for maintaining the security of the Azure platform or whatever the services you are using, the virtual machine, the data you have and everything, there is something called as Security Center, Azure Security Center. Okay. Now it is also called as MDC, Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Okay. So they will look into all your cloud resources. They will check for different configuration, what is missing, if some data is overshared, and they will give you certain suggestions like, okay, go and do this to your like your storage is publicly accessible, go and make it private. Your VM is not patched, go and patch it. So those kind of things it will provide you as a recommendation. Okay. Other thing is Azure Active Directory. So why Azure Active Directory is important? So see, you have lot of different resources, right? Suppose like I am using all these different resources. So you cannot go and create different accounts with the name of like, okay, Nitish Anand something, Nitish Anand at the rate GUVI.com, and you will go and create in all these services. Instead, you will have this user Azure Active Directory, and from there you can give access like, okay, this user give access to this one, this only these three services. He will be able to use only three services, right? So this is how you can also manage the security. So that is why we have this Active Directory in the on-prem, and you have Azure Active Directory in the Azure space. Similarly, you have Azure AD B2C, business to customer. So business to customer, how I should explain, you can think of like sometimes if you go to certain sites, it will give you an option like login as Google account, login as Facebook account, or you can say think of like login as Microsoft. So in that case, what happens? Your identity in the backend is managed by, you can think of like Google, Facebook, or Microsoft. Here I will take example of Microsoft, and the customer who is hosting something. Okay, so they need not worry about the identity because they are saying like, okay, if this user, Microsoft, if you trust this user, if there is a account this user, then I also trust this user. So based on that, I will provide access to this. And one more thing, before providing the access, they will ask you for the consent. So this is very important. When you go to certain sites, when you authenticate using a different, you can say identity provider, before allowing the access, it will ask you for the consent. And this is very important where we miss the things. So it will ask like, okay, it will access your, for example, it will access your application, it will access your camera, it will access your messages. So these things we need to see very carefully. So what happens certain times, what happens, malicious applications, they will go and take your consent for accessing the, you can say like the your secrets, confidential data. So you should not give those kind of consent. Okay, because at the end of the day, what happens, like, okay, once you give the consent, so the attacker or someone, they can go and access those resources, and at the later point of time you cannot say like, okay, it is not me who accessed. Yeah, you did not access it, but you provided the consent, right? Consent, you can think of like kind of an agreement. So when you sign certain agreement, you go through each and every word of it, right? You go through each and everything page of it, right? Everything. You will not go and simply sign an agreement. So similarly, this things also works, right? So B2C, how it happens? Suppose I am a small company. I am providing certain, like, for example, think of like, I have opened up a gym. Okay, so in gym, 50 people are coming. I need to maintain their ID and everything. Okay, so that someone else will not be using it on behalf of them. So what I will do, I will go and I will have a word with Google, Microsoft, and all. They will I will say like, okay, see, I will use your identity so that I do not have to worry about creating those IDs and all. If you trust it, the user will provide uh, username, password, everything. If you trust it, I also trust it, and I will use those identity providers. So that will be like a unique, you can say like a unique person for me. So in this way, you can use Azure B2C. So similarly, you have multi-factor authentication. So
Mr.
this,
Nitish,
yeah,
sorry for interrupting. Shall we have a small break here so that our learning expert will present their deck as well?
yes, sure.
Yeah.
I
Thank
will
you.
take just 2 minutes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I will
sure.
wrap up this. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So similarly, we have something called as MFA. So multi-factor authentication is, you can say like, very much required. You can use it anywhere, like in your banking applications, in your mobile, when you access certain sites and all, because there are a lot of ways to steal your credentials, right? Phishing emails are one thing. In the backend also, the attackers can steal the tokens, cookies, caches. So multi-factor authentication is another thing which you really want to use. So for that also, Azure will provide that service, like Azure multi-factor authentication service. Along with that, you can use other services like Key Vault. Key Vault is for storing your like your application secrets. You can think of like certificates, passwords, SPN. You can say like SPN tokens and passwords. SPN is service principal name in Azure. So those are the different services which I talked about, and each service has its own different space. Okay, and these all different space, you can learn it and you can grow your career there, right? If you learn, for example, you want to be a developer, you want to manage the CI/CD pipeline, you can go and learn the Visual Studio, how these things work, how the Azure DevOps work, and you can be Azure DevOps engineer, Azure DevOps consultant. Those kind of roles will open up for you. Okay, so this was just an example. I think that's pretty much about. So now, why Azure? Like, I think Manjunath covered about this program and all, but yeah, uh, why you want to look out for Azure? Because see, Azure cloud services are being used by, you can think of like top 85% like Fortune 500 companies. So that means like if the companies are using it, so there will be a lot of job opportunities from their end. So this is just a list which I found from this blog. You can go through it. And what Jayshree, you can do, you can just provide the link to this blog in the chat section, Jayshree. So
Yes, sure, sure.
yeah, yeah. So you can see like a lot of companies, and these are like the top 500, but there are other companies as well, right? Which uses these cloud services. So what really happens, like there are a lot of job opportunities opens up for you if you go and learn Azure computing, Azure cloud computing, and there are different, you can say like a, uh, it all depends upon your interest, like which areas you want to invest. Okay, you want to go into a development thing, you can learn development related services. You are interested in networking services, you can go and learn Azure networking. You want to develop container application, you can do that. You want to manage the CI/CD pipeline, Azure DevOps, build release pipeline and all. You can go learn Visual Studio, Azure DevOps. So a lot of job opportunities, right? So let me go to the next slide. So now what is the advantage of cloud? Like why companies are moving to cloud? See, if companies are adopting it, it means there is something really fascinating and there is something really much of use. That is why companies are shifting from on-prem to cloud, right? And also considering the current working, you can say lifestyle, it's not like you can say before, where employees will come to office all the 5 days. They will work from office only. Once they log out from office, they will not have access to resources. Nowadays, everyone want flexibility. Okay, like they can work from anywhere. They can work from home. They can work from their hometown. No matter where they are, they can check for emails while they are traveling. They can answer to emails while they are having some other work. So it means everyone wants flexibility, and these things are provided by cloud. So actually what happens when when you are hosting the things in cloud, you can access it from anywhere. Okay, because the services are provided over internet. So think of like just example, like uh, you are working for a company, and you are accessing certain sites from when you are within company, like on premise, so corp network. Now you want to access it from outside corp, like you are at home, you got some email and you want to reply to it. Okay, or you want to see some, like you can say, some meeting recordings and all. So these things are possible because those things are hosted in cloud and it is accessed over internet. All they need is the security, like okay, they will ask for your user ID, credentials. They can also ask for conditional access control, like suppose the attacker had your password, they stole your password, right? But still they will not meet the conditional access control. So conditional access control is again a different story of its own, right? It's a very you can say like a big area. So there are a lot of things that depends upon the conditional access control. So for example, they will check whether you have logged in from this device before, whether you have logged in from this location before. So actually what happens if it is attacker, they will be logging in. Suppose like you are connecting from now Chennai, right? uh, so suppose attacker got your password and they are accessing it from, for example, you can think of like Russia, right? So in that case, the conditional access thing will come into picture. Like they will be saying like, okay, this user was not supposed to log in from Russia because from the last 30 days, he has been accessing only from Chennai. Why Russia? So in that case, also they will block the access. They will also check for the device from which the request is coming. They will check for impossible travels. So a lot of things are there, right? So these all things Azure will take care. So let me talk about the advantages of cloud. There are many more, but let me cover this cost saving. So cost saving I already covered. Like in cost saving area, you are only paying for the resources which you are using, not for the idle resources. So in that way, you can save a lot. Okay, so you do not have to buy the hardwares and those things in advance. Once you use it, once you are not using it, you just release it, you decommission it, you stop it, you will not be charged anything. Now flexibility. So flexibility in two terms. So one is like you have wide variety of tools, you have wide variety of support, like platform as a service. There you can go and host any kind of application. Suppose you are good into Java, you will develop something into like Java coding. Now someone is good into, for example, C, C++, C Sharp. So they will be having their own code. But what this Azure will say, no matter with what code you come, I have the platform for you. You can, I will make sure all the dependencies, all the packages, or whatever things you need in the backend during the runtime, I will manage that. Okay. So this is how it provides flexibility in a team where suppose some are good in Java, some are good into Python, some are good into Ruby and all. So you can have different sets of, you can say like a application deployment scenario, and flexibility in terms of like the hybrid work culture, like after COVID. No matter from where you are working, you're working from home, You are working from out of city or working from office, anywhere you can access your email, you can access, you can like join the meetings, you can access certain recordings, you can access company resources, everything over internet. The internet is the key thing here. Like once you have an internet, you can access everything from anywhere, right? Now, other thing is 24 by 7 availability, because see what happens in the back end. Actually, what happens, Azure maintain different data centers. Okay. So in India only we have 3, 4 data centers. In US we have, in China we have, in Brazil, all across. Okay, there are multiple data centers. So what happens? Suppose, think of example, I hosted my application that was in the Mumbai data center, and for some reason, because of flood or because of fire, because of any reason, the data center went down. So what happens when you are having certain application running? They have a mechanism to switch over. Like suppose if something this went down, they will relocate this load to some other data center which is not in this region. So like suppose in Mumbai the flood was there, earthquake was there, but the same thing will not be there like suppose in US, right? Or the same thing will not be there in other region like Russia. So in that case, what will happen? Within no moment, they will switch on the load to those data center. So in that case, it is 24 by 7 availability. You do not need to worry about like, okay, this data center went down, my entire data went down, my storage went down, my confidential data. No, you do not need to worry about. There is always replicas, or you can say like the copies of your, you can say like files and all those things are stored in different data centers. This is again a different concept to learn, that is called as availability zones. In Azure, you can go and just Google about it. What is availability zones? What are region pairs? What are data centers? How these availability zones are made? You can go and read about it. Now, other things is reliability. So reliability, somewhat I already described in availability. So it is reliable solution. Like you can rely on it, you can trust it, right? If someone is providing you certain service, you can trust on it. For example, think like, okay, you are taking Uber ride. Okay, so they provide you the trust, like, okay, our drivers are well equipped, like they are good drivers. We will provide you safety. Okay, we will provide you live tracking so that you can share the, like you can say, the right details with your family, your relatives. So they are providing you a service with reliability. Like, okay, we are providing you reliable service. You can trust on us. You can rely on us. So similarly, the Azure is like, okay, when they provide certain service, they are saying like, you can trust on us because we will take care of security. We will take care of patching. If suppose a data center went down, within no moment of time, we will switch over the load to other data center. We will also take care of like you can think of like disaster recovery. If something happens, if the data center went down, we will take care of that. So in that way, what will happen, your business will keep on running. Okay, it will not stop at any point of time. So you can rely on us. So as you are saying, you can rely on us, we will provide you this much uptime. So this is again another area to study. There is something called as SLA. You can read about 99.99. The more nine you add after the point, the more Azure will be charging more. So 99.9% SLA is not same as 99.9999%. Okay, you can read about it. What are Azure SLA? What is 99.5% mean? So it, for example, 99.9 will say, for example, okay, in a year for 10 hours your service can be down. 99.9999 will say like, okay, it can be down only for 5 hours. So in that case, what happens? Azure have to do some you can say like a tough controls, and they have to invest a lot to maintain those kind of like services, because if it is going above 5, they need to pay for the loss you had, right? So the more trusted service, the more demanding service you need, the more charges will be there from Azure. Now scalability, so this is one of the you can say like the good quality of cloud, you can say like the good advantage of using cloud. A scalable solution, I will give you one example of scalability. So now in your company you had 33 employees only working, only 33 employees. Now you want to expand your business. Now you want 50 computers. So within no moment of time, you can switch over, you can jump from 33 to 50. You added 17 extra resources. Within 5 minutes, you can go and deploy the VMs. Okay. You can have extra storage. Okay. So you need not know, go and purchase all those softwares or purchase all those, like you can say, hardwares and all. You can do it. So whenever there is a need, you can scale it. Now you had 33 employees, you want to reduce the employee count to 20. You can release the 13 resources. Okay, I will give you one live example of scalability. Every one of you must have like heard about this Azure, sorry, Amazon, like a Flipkart Big Billion Days, or in Amazon sometimes the sale happens. So what happens during the sale? The number of customers increases, right? So on a usual day, suppose like 10,000 customers come to Amazon and check for different products and they buy their products. And on the Amazon Big Billion Days or Flipkart, whatever the sale, that day 50,000 suppose like customers are expected. So in that case, what they will do, they will increase the resources so that their web application can take the load of 50,000 users searching their products. So you need scalability for managing another 40,000 users. And this you can do without any code. Like cost will be there, but without any change it at your end. So Azure will say like, okay, uh, I will just examine the traffic, and if the traffic is more, I will increase the bandwidth to 50,000. I will keep on increasing. Like, okay, for example, it was 10,000. Suddenly the need is for 15,000, 1 5. I will increase to 15, 20, 30. Now, suppose after some time, the traffic went down. Now again, they will reduce it to 15, 10, 5, something. So in that case, what happens? You are only getting charged for the things uh, you have used. And also other thing is like your business will keep on running. Suppose like you do not know like, okay, how many users will be coming on that day. And suppose you are not ready with all those like configuration changes and also what will happen? You had 50,000 customers, but you had the ample resources only for 10,000 customers. So now 40,000 customers will not be able to use your site. They will not be able to buy anything. So you are in loss, right? So these things cloud will take care by scaling up the resources. Scalability is again another term. There is something called as horizontal scaling as well as vertical scaling. So in vertical scaling, you add up compute power, storage and all. In the horizontal scaling, you add up hardware. You can go and read about it. Okay, these are all different terms, different concepts of Azure cloud. Okay, now performance I already talked about, like how Azure is giving you the guarantee, like, okay, we will provide you the best performance because their services are very well optimized. Azure delivers like high performance computing power, networking, storage capabilities with the demanding workloads. Like how the demand will be, accordingly they will change the performance. They have Azure load balancers and all, so they will take care of those things. Now automatic software update, this is another feature. You need not worry about patching the softwares, patching your operating system. These all things will be taken care by Azure itself in the backend. Backup and restore facility is also there. You can use it. Cost saving, I think it's repeated. Now unlimited storage. So unlimited storage, it means like suppose you need only 5 GB now. Now you want additional 1 GB. So it will scale up. It will give you another 1 GB with extra cost. But now suppose like you need only 2 GB. So they will again reduce it to 2 GB. So this is also like unlimited storage. Whether you want to need more storage, you want less storage, these all things will be taken care by Azure Cloud. Let me go to the next slide. Now the career opportunities, which you guys will be more interested in. I talked about the different Azure services, right? Like for example, Azure Virtual Network, Azure Machine Learning, Azure Function, Azure Web Service. These all opens up lot of jobs for you, lot of career opportunities for you, right? I have listed down only few. It does not mean like these are the only job offerings in Azure space. There are many more. Okay. Cloud solution architect. So this is for like, for example, think of like you want to use Azure. So in that case, what will happen? You need to go and configure different like your application softwares. So they need a configuration, right? So for that, you will have cloud solution architect. They will come and say like, okay, how many switches you need, whether you need VPN gateway, whether you need Azure App Service, where you need like NSG network security groups that is similar to firewalls, where you need Azure firewalls. They will be taking care of all of these architecture part of thing, right? Cloud solution architect. You can be a cloud developer as well, right? Who will be deploying in the backend like Azure App Services, Azure function. They will be creating Azure Kubernetes services. You can be creating like a container solution and all. So those kind of jobs are also there. DevOps engineer. So suppose like you are taking care of this CI/CD pipeline, build, release, deployment, those things. So in that case, you can go and select for this DevOps engineer. Azure data engineer, they will be mostly taking care of this. You can say like database. So usually we have this database admins, database administrator, this job. So again in same in Azure we have Azure data engineer, Azure AI engineer. If you are working on AI solutions like cognitive services, you are developing something in Azure machine learning. So in that case you can use Azure AI engineer. Azure security engineer is for Azure platform security, where you have different kind of, you can say, recommendation from Azure, like okay, which all things you can go and change, the configuration you can change. So those things like it can be taken care by Azure security engineer. Azure administrator is like for managing the Azure resources. So what happens when you use resource? You use different resources, different resource group. Now you need to maintain the access to those resources. You need to ensure like okay, they are compliant with the local laws. You say like this GRC, right? Governance risk compliance. Your data should not be stored in like outside of India. So those all things will be taken care by Azure administrator, right? Managing application services. Azure network engineer. If you are good in you can say like network architecture, so you can go and learn about these resources, where you can learn about like okay, how this Azure virtual network works, how to set up Azure express route, how to set up Azure VPN gateway. So these are just some of the jobs. Apart from that, there are a lot of other jobs, and with this demand with the AI and all, AI plus cloud, this has generated a lot of job opportunity. Okay, you just need to go and learn and explore Azure, and lot of career opportunities will open up for you.